Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 186. Let's talk about the innuendos. My god. This, you could totally tell the illustrator and what his freaking past workings were with this chapter. There were like two scenes where there were like the sexual innuendos were like, they're just shoving there in your face. And it's kind of funny. It was pretty funny. I like how they balanced out the comedy with some characterization with Yukihira, Hayama. But this chapter was overall pretty funny, and it got pretty intense too towards the end. So we start off with Hayama, Yukihira, where they're continuing off with their cooking competition. And they're both doing their thing. Hayama, he's making his sauce or his broth, and so is Soma. But what's interesting with Soma is that he's using an extra bear sauce that is like from the bear meat. So Dojima was wondering, like, it's kind of a risky move to put that much flavor into the bear meat. And if it fails, then obviously we know that's a bad move. Now, the funny part is when Hayama's making his sauce, you have everyone in the room getting all like tensed up and orgasming. And it's just hilarious. You know, it's what Hayama does. Every time he makes something, every time he makes food, it's always the aroma, the scent of smell that drives people insane. But you got the girls, Berta and Shelia, and they're asking, oh, I want to try some of it. And then Hayama goes, oh, I make plenty. You know, you guys want to have some? And he gives like a spoonful of his sauce. And the way these girls taste it, they stick their tongue in, and they pull it out, and you see the sauce dripping from their fucking tongue. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, everyone who has read this chapter recognizes where they've seen that before, and don't deny it that you don't recognize that fucking shit. she does it, and you see it dripping from the tongue, and I'm like, wow. And then they, you know, we see what happens. They get, you know, stripped down. They go, ah, and I'm like, okay, nothing new. We haven't seen here before. But the funny part is just like, oh no, we're becoming their pets. And all of a sudden they get like stripped. And there's an illustration of them in like a bear bikini costume with covering in bear mitts for their feet and hands. And they're like, oh no. And they're both right there next to it. And I'm like, okay, wow, okay. Yeah, we're going this route. And I'm like, it's pretty funny though. It's funny to look at. But what I laughed harder at was when Dojima Senpai was like, oh man, they fell and were defeated just by his sauce. And I'm like, okay, come on. Seriously, you're not even trying to hide that shit anymore. The first half was just so funny, man, with the fucking innuendos, man. I kept dying of laughter. I just kept facepalming myself. And I'm like, oh, that's Shokugeki no Soma. They do it so well in the manga with the illustrations and the dialogue, man. The imagery and dialogue full of two innuendos that just made me laugh my ass off. Then the next half, well, they kind of like, well, hold on, let me slow down here. They get into, the rest of the judges kind of like start to think, oh, is this maybe too much of a mountain for Yukihira to climb? And you know how it is. Every time you go against someone who's that powerful, or every time Yukihira goes against someone who's that strong, people tend to doubt him after they, you know, see the first chef, his initial cooking. And they think, oh, I don't know if Yukihira can climb this mountain. So we've been down this route before. It's nothing we haven't seen where Yukihira's going to surprise someone, or he's going to impress the judges. And then throw them off their socks. Because it's funny with the side characters, the ones who are under Kuga. By the way, Kuga, man, he like immediately got along with Berta and Shelia in this chapter, man. He went all like metro with the tea sipping, and they made the comment that, oh, he looks like a girl with the girls here who are having a tea party. So I'm like, oh, that's good balance here, man. This whole chapter had pretty good balance within the comedy and the intensity, because it's still pretty damn intense reading this chapter, and I really love that about this. So you get Kuga, who reminds them, hey, listen, it's Yukihira. He's going to pull up something pretty amazing too. So, like that about Kuga. Kuga backing up his boy. So you get then Yukihira, he's getting his dish ready. And now he throws everyone off their socks. So like looking at his meat. And apparently it's some kind of burger meat with some like friedness. I think that's what it was. It's kind of hard to explain their cooking sometimes, because it's even hard for me to understand, where you have to read over a couple times. But case in point, it gets everyone impressed. It gets everyone drooling. Now what surprises me, it looks like Yukihira is going first. Like, majority of times, whenever you go first, you're probably going to lose. Not all the time. I say like 65-70% you're going to lose. There have been other times where someone does go first and they do end up winning or owning the competition. But it always seems to be the guy who goes second who wins this. And if Yukihira loses, then he's suspended from Central and goodbye to the plot. So is this like, I guess, plot armor, I guess? Because we know Yukihira's the main character, unless they pull something that happened with him in the first seat, where he lost and he ended up not going under his arm because he thought he was just going to be too much of a hassle. Like, but this is Central. They're going to suspend you no matter who you are. Now, I don't expect Yukihira to necessarily lose, but the fact that he's going first can be a bit alarming because we know how this story goes. Towards the end, then we get some characterization of Soma. He recognizes, or he thanks Hayama for defeating him. And it's almost like Hayama kind of set him on his own path after he lost. Because he had always been a guy who was just following his father's footsteps instead of just like kind of coming up with his own way of cooking. And he's thankful that he left Yukihira. He's thankful that he lost to Hayama. He's very thankful for all the things that he has experienced. And what I like about this is that it just shows like how much Yukihira has grown from him being a stuck-up guy back in the beginning of this series, where he thought like, oh, I don't need the extra cooking, you know, I got everything I learned from my dad, I'm just going to own Yukihira Diner. And it just shows how much he has grown, because it's just a typical, you know, you lose and you come out stronger, and that's how defeat is always good. And that's why I think Erina is so interested in Yukihira, because he's able to take defeat and loss and able to make it into a positive and come out stronger. Because Erina has always been the type of person where if you fail, that's bad. It's the undesiring will to not fail that Erina has. And I think that's funny that Erina thinks about him while she's cooking, because they show a flashback of Erina talking to Soma back in the train. And it's funny, man. You get these two together. She's like bugging him, telling him, like, oh, you don't look like you're serious or nervous at all. You better pass this test. And he promises her that he's going to pass it no matter what. And I'm like, because he has to settle a score with Hayama. And I'm thinking, oh, that's like so cute, man, with Erina and Yukihira, that he promises her that he's going to get through this. And it just shows more growth of their friendship. So this chapter has had a lot of things. You got comedy. You got the intensity. You got the characterization with Soma. You got some characterization with Erina. And of course, you know, Hayama, he always brings it with his intensity and his cooking. You got some innuendos. This chapter had everything. I really enjoyed this chapter. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really like this. I'm interested who's going to win, because Soma's going first. That's a flag. Fantard out.